Welcome back to Dumbass News for the week of October 15th, 2023. News of the dumbasses, by the dumbasses, and for the dumbasses. I'm one of your hosts, Ralphie G, here to bring you this news. And my other co-host, introduce yourself.
James V. Ready to rock.
Let's do this. We're back after a little bit of a hiatus, and I'm excited to get into the news stories that we have today.
Got 2 weeks worth to go over.
So let's see what we got. Well, James, you want to take us through the crazy shit of the week?
Yes, sir. All right, so I live in Albuquerque, and we have the Balloon Fiesta here, which is, I think, the biggest hot air balloon gathering in the world. And they have these like races that go out of the state, so like they fly to other parts of the country and stuff. Apparently, one of them was flying into Texas, and the pilot thinks that the Texas people were like thinking it was some kind of Chinese spy balloon, so they started shooting at him. So they were flying in North Texas, and he said there was just like gunfire. Like I saw this interview with him where he thought it was like automatic gunfire, and then he was trying to land the balloon. First of all, he's like trying to dodge it with a balloon, and you really can't steer balloons that much. And then he tried to land it. And it sucked for them. They like landed pretty hard, hit a power line. But I think what's funny for me about this story is like you would think that New Mexico or Albuquerque would be the place they're getting shot at, but actually it's Texas.
That a couple things with this story. One, this sport balloon, I'm picturing like a hot air balloon. That's correct, right?
Yeah, like a large hot air balloon.
And like you said, and I just wanted to confirm, because like you said, if that thing's taking fire, there's not much you could do to move the balloon back and forth.
Yeah. And even if you thought it was a spy balloon, who just starts shooting at it? Like, that's so crazy to me. Because like when you shoot guns in the air, the bullets come down somewhere else, or they can. So it's like, what are you doing? Like,
That's a great point. And that's something you see in all the movies. People shoot in the air like the bullet disappears. That shit comes back. And
yeah,
I mean, like, I like guns, but I also think you should be responsible with the guns. And shooting just in the air at a random balloon doesn't sound responsible to me.
it's crazy too, because like the Chinese spy balloon, like, the government waited to shoot it down until it was over the ocean. So it's like, why do these guys think they should shoot it down? Just like, I'm gonna get them, I'm gonna shoot it down, if that's why they were shooting at it. But it's like, why else would you shoot it up?
Like, and like, yeah, like I love this quote here, just how it ends with, "I think it is a big problem for us." Like, are we talking? Are we talking a big problem that the Chinese spy balloons are the problem, or the people just shooting balloons in the air all willy nilly? Which one's the problem?
It's crazy too, because I think the Chinese spy balloon was like way bigger than a typical hot air balloon. So like
Yeah,
they're way off in thinking it's a spy balloon. That thing was much larger, I think, because it carried like all this stuff and like solar panels and ridiculous.
yeah. In my head canon, the Chinese spy balloon was like a space station, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna stick with that. Do you want to take us through a couple of our dumbasses of the week here?
Sure. Recurring segment. Pretty easy to find them these days. All right. So recently the LAPD released some video. This is actually from a few years ago. These cops that got fired, but someone like made a request and got this video released of some cops on their dash cam talking about playing Pokemon Go, ignoring a robbery in progress. Like there was a robbery call on dispatch, and they just like didn't. There's actually one of, like, if you watch the video, one of them was like, screw it. They keep talking about Pokemon. He's
I
picked the
love it.
next. Yeah,
Let me see. Yeah.
some solid lines here. So like in the video, they're talking about they're like talking about how to catch specific Pokemon. Like one of the guys is like, "Oh man, I'm really trying to get a Snorlax, but do you think there might be a Snorlax?" This is in Los Angeles. I think there might be a Snorlax over here on like 47th and 12th or whatever. It's like,
I love this. question for you before we go deeper into this. Were you one of the people who caught on to the Pokemon Go craze and played when it first came out?
I've never tried it, man. Yeah, I've never tried it.
I I don't know if I got lucky or unlucky that at the time I famously always have old technology. And at the time my phone was too old to be able to get Pokemon Go. So I actually remember being at the job that I was at that time, and people would be walking around the parking lot like catching Pokemon, and I would just be there walking around with my old phone, like, wish I could have fun with you guys.
Yeah, so I have a good Pokemon Go story. I used to work on an Air Force base, and so there's like restricted areas and places you're not supposed to go unless you're allowed to. When Pokemon Go came out, we would get an email every once in a while that kind of told a story. The email would be like, if you're playing the new video game Pokemon Go, do not follow Pokemon into areas that you are not authorized to be in. Like stuff like that. Just like someone was just like on their phone, like do 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 do, and they just walked into somewhere and a bunch of armed guards popped out. We're like, what are you doing here?
That's the advanced Pokemon. That's where you get the big Pokemon. Is
It
in
probably
the
it
armed
probably
area.
is like
I remember when Pokemon Go first came out. I was doing a little stand up at the time, and I was talking about I had a bit about this news story about somebody was going to catch a Pikachu or something like that, and they found a dead body, and they reported it to the police. But that person, because they found it, of course, had to go up through all this questioning, and so like my bit, like I somehow found the humor in it, but that is kind of uh, like that is kind of a scary situation. For this was like a teenager.
yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I heard that on the news a few times that people were stumbling upon like crime scene evidence, like a discarded gun or like a body or like a abandoned car, and like people wondered if it would be a boon for like cold cases. Just
Yeah.
like stumble upon another case cracked by Pokemon Go.
And like as we can see from this news story right here, it's going in the opposite direction. We're going to get less cases. We got the LAPD more concerned about Pokemon than we do about uh, fighting crime in their area. I love the screw it, because that's the type of shit I would have said if I was playing Pokemon Go at the time.
I love how they got caught too. Like it says a captain showed up, which is like hired, like their boss, right? Shows up at the scene and is like, what the fuck? How come no one's taking this call? And like ask them about it, and they're like, oh, I didn't hear a call. And then they like check the footage, and it's like them playing Pokemon Go. And then the call comes through on the footage. It's like robbery in progress, Crenshaw Mall. And then the cops are like, screw it. It like explodes their defense. Like,
I like to think that the captain showed up and was like, what's going on? They're like, oh, we didn't hear a call. And then the captain checked his own phone. He's like, oh, a Snorlax. These
yeah.
guys are trying to catch it.
I wonder if they like subpoenaed their Pokemon Go account to prove they were like playing Pokemon Go.
And one of the dudes was on the force for 17 years. What a way to go out.
Man. Yeah, imagine telling that to like your family and like your yeah, I won't be getting a pension. I got to find another job. Why? I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
As,
And like, you first.
oh, it definitely has nothing to do with Pokemon or video games. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah, I was thinking like they would have to find a special way to cover it up. They'd have to be like, oh, I was let go because of unlawful use of a mobile device while on the on an observation.
Yeah, I saw that like the police union like fought this case and said that they were like the city shouldn't be able to use this footage or something. And I was like, what do you mean you can't use footage from the dash cam like against cops? They use it against like people all the time. It's like, why can't you use it
Yeah,
against cops? What the fuck? What are you talking
yeah,
about?
because it's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing.
Yeah, I feel like some of the unions would fight anything. Like, it's like, why are you defending these guys? They're playing Pokemon Go while people are being robbed. Like,
But they want to be the very best. Like no one ever was. Like Ash Ketchum.
yeah, yeah.
uh So on this story here, we got the former U.S. intelligence officer charged with trying to get to give classified defense information to China. We have a lot of words on this slide, but James, do you want to hit us with the greatest hits here?
Yeah, basically the reason I find this story so funny is like he put a lot of things in writing that he shouldn't, and his use of like tradecraft is really bad, which is kind of funny considering he used to be in army intelligence. Like it gives you a weird feeling. Part of it is, so he started out, he emailed the Chinese consulate with his like personal email and said, oh, I want to like, I have, intelligence for you and I want to like help. And then at the end, he says, can we meet in person? Because I don't want to discuss this over email. After discussing it over email. And then after that, he like made a Word doc and he titled it Important Information to Share with the Chinese Government that included classified information, which is like, it's like if you were going to rob a bank and you put a map in your pocket that says like bank robbery plan and it has like a circled of the vault and like the guards are here and like the alarm is there. It's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah. As stupid as this guy is, the way like he's sending an email and at the same time saying he doesn't trust email. I have to, I kind of feel for this guy because I am the one when I'm with my friends, they're like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, software engineer. And then they're like, do you have this new app on my phone? And I'm like, no, I don't trust it. I don't trust technology. At the same time, I'm building technology. So I kind of feel for him here. But wow, is that unfortunate that they caught him in that lie. Or that circle, I should say. Not really a lie.
Yeah, the more you work with tech, I feel like the more you see under the covers, the more you're like horrified and you like simple things, like sort of like old school stuff more and like appreciate it more because it's more robust.
Yeah, part of me is like, I'm like, oh, software is built by people like me. When I should be thinking, oh, software is built by people like me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's all built by these like grab bag teams of people that only work so well together.
Oh, but
I also saw
back to
I also saw with this guy that they had like his search history somehow, which I was a little confused by. Maybe they like took his laptop, but they said he had all these funny searches like how to become a spy, Reddit, how to defect, Reddit, like all these like stupid. And I love that it was like he's looking for it on Reddit. It's like, why do you think people on Reddit know how to do this stuff? Like
Yeah,
I use Reddit for all kinds of research, but it's like you think Reddit's full of defected spies? Like, I don't know. What
like
advice are you
this.
getting? It's mostly like dumbasses like us.
Yeah, like this is how you'd go about it if you were like in middle school. Like, like yeah, Reddit knows everything. But if you're this dude, that's crazy. And it's also crazy that he wasn't smart enough to clear his search history. Like that's day
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Yeah, these searches and like titling the doc, it definitely reeks of like being 12 years old. And like
Yeah.
thinking you're being really clever and the adults are just like, what are you doing?
So I wonder what he does today. Because he was caught.
Hmm.
Does it say anything about where he's at today?
They said he like moved to China for a while, I think, but then he tried to overstay his visa or something, and COVID got in the way of that, and like zero COVID and all that, and so I think he got ejected back to the U.S. or something. But it's like they arrested him in like Seattle or something.
Damn, he's probably like working at Starbucks. Like he probably gave us coffee this morning. We didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Let's move on here. So we got conspiracy theories about the famous October 4th emergency alert test spread online. Really quickly before going into this, James, did you get this emergency test on your phone on October 4th?
I did, and I was in a really funny place to get it. I was in the airport. I think I was in the Dallas airport, which is a great place to get it because there's like a shitload of people in there. And so it was kind of like pandemonium and a bunch of confused people. Like I heard people going, what's happening? It's like, you know, if you hadn't heard the news, you're like, what the hell is happening? And then you'd hear people going, oh no, it's a test. Oh no, it's fine. You know, you'd hear like a bunch of cycles of this. What's happening? It's fine, it's fine, it's a test, you know. And people's went off at different times, which is weird too. Like I swear the first round happened, you know, at one point, which included mine. And then like 5, 10, 20 minutes later, people were getting, it was like, what? Like, were you on airplane mode or something?
I I was definitely one of the people who went through a roller coaster of emotions when I got it. I was just in my house, but the alert came through, and my first emotion was, "Oh no, an Amber Alert." I mean, I'm just in my house, so I can't help. Then I look at it, and then I'm like, "Oh shit, there's an emergency! Like this shit's going out to everyone." And then quickly was like, "Oh, it's a test. Okay, we're okay. We're fine." So I was like, just a whirlwind of emotions when I got this.
Yeah. So then there was these conspiracies flying around. I didn't look too deeply into them, but I'm definitely a fan of conspiracies or like apocalyptic stuff that has a specific date attached to it in the near future, because you know pretty surely that that date is going to come and go and nothing will happen. And then you could circle back to the people making the predictions like, what's up? How come that didn't happen? So like on this one, they were saying that, I don't know, it was, you know, it was like a grab bag of all of the conspiracies at once. It was like COVID vaccines,
Yep.
5G, it was like FEMA, and then it was like something about it's gonna like activate these components in the vaccine and do something to you or whatever. Um, and I love this quote, like this news article like asked, you know, like a smart person, like a materials science person, like, does this make any sense to you? And she was like, no, no, you can't activate this material. Like no one, like, what does that mean? And yeah, it's like, what does it mean? What activate it? Activate it
It's
how? Like,
the funny part with that quote is, so this is a woman who's in the know. She knows what this shit is and how it doesn't make sense to activate it. But somebody would hear her quote the "you can't activate graphene oxide." What does that even mean? And they would hear it as she doesn't even know what it means. Of course she doesn't know if they can activate it. She doesn't know what's going on. When in reality, she's like, no, this shit can't be activated.
I would be annoyed if I was a professor, like having to field this query. Like, why are you asking me this? What the hell does this even mean? Like, it's like activate it. What turn on your vaccine service? Like what the hell is like what I don't get what they thought would happen. Like so there was this like tweet that was like, oh, it's gonna activate these nanoparticles. Okay, which will do what?
Yeah.
They never get to that. They just leave it as like dot dot dot. Oh, it'll activate him. Okay, well,
Yeah,
I
that was
get
like,
maybe I'll have more energy if they're activated. I don't know.
yeah, that was like when I got the vaccine back in the day. Wow, I could say back in the day, but that made no sense. When I got the vaccine a year or two ago, I should say, it was the Pfizer vaccine. I remember everyone like, dude, do you trust it? Do you trust it? Do you know what's gonna happen? And I'm like, I know when they hit the kill switch, I'll be gone. So, you'll have to deal with the fallout. Sounds like getting the vaccine's better than that. So I'll see you later.
Yeah. I think a funny thing about that kind of talk too, like people are saying, oh, all the people that got the vaccine are gonna like drop dead. And it's like, you better hope that doesn't happen because like, that's you're talking I mean, first of all, you're talking about people you know and like human beings, but it's like you guys you guys that are like on this kick, like you think you're gonna like run society without like 75% of the people? Like how the fuck are you gonna do that? Like
Yeah. Real quick, uh, your cell phone, your internet, everything will be gone because there's just not enough infrastructure to support everything.
yeah, it's like human civilization is so specialized. It's like are you guys going to figure out how to run the power plant, how to build roads, how to like farm, how to do electrical stuff? Like, yeah, good story. Yeah.
But it's all right as long as they avoid this graphene oxide that will be activated with one.
I wonder if these conspiracy people think it actually already happened because it doesn't have a specified effect. So it's like I guess they get to yeah, they're activated now. Yeah. Oh, activated. It's like, okay, what happens next? Well, they're
Um,
then they'll deactivate it.
that's actually a scarier notion. that they deactivate what they have activated.
They'll flip it back to off like it was before, and you didn't even know when it was off. Okay.
Oh man, I love these people. They keep me happy.
Ugh. They're entertaining at least.
But speaking of entertaining, this person, I don't want to call this person a dumbass, but my lord, this is an unlucky person here. James, this woman, 104-year-old woman, she went skydiving and was about to break the record for oldest person to skydive. Unfortunately, before Guinness could confirm her record, she passed away.
It's terrible, man. Like, will she still get the record? Like posthumously, or does she have to be alive to get it? Or how does that work?
I didn't even think of that. But now they might be like, oh shit, she didn't make it. She didn't make it.
Do they need to like talk to her as part of like confirming the record, or
Maybe they can talk to a couple people back here. I will say for this photo here, she seems the most ready to go.
Dude, that's super impressive to skydive at 104. Like, I mean, I would go skydiving. I feel like I would probably break my leg or something on the land, which, you know, does happen. Like, to do that at 104 is pretty baller. Like, respect. She's an anti-dumbass. Like, that's pretty badass.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always told people, because I am horrible on airplanes, that the only way I would skydive is to end this flight quicker. It's just to jump off and get going. But one quick skydiving story. I had a friend who went skydiving, and the strap that he was on wasn't really strapped to his shoulder correctly. So immediately when the parachute went out, his shoulder dislocated. It was fine. But the funny part is the parachute went out and he started to scream. And the person he was tethered to was like, dude, we're past the free fall. We're good now. You don't have to scream. And he's like, I'm in pain. And we're just screaming the whole ride down.
Oh my God. Yeah, I think the thing that would scare me about going skydiving is like just like, you know, it's like this kind of random company that does like skydiving things, and like no one's died yet. But like, am I going to be the unlucky one where, you know, the new guy packed the parachute and I go to pull it and nothing happens, and I pull the other one and it shoots one of those things like in a cartoon when they pull the trigger and like a bang flag comes out. You know, with my luck, I feel like that would happen to me.
Yeah, that's a great call, because it's like statistics are there for a reason. It's like 1 in every million people die. Well, have a million people done this successfully? Like, I could be that one.
Yeah. I mean, your odds of dying skydiving are probably higher than winning the lottery. But, you know, people skydive and it's not going to happen to them, but they'll play the lottery all day long.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen to them either.
But shout out to Dorothy Hoffner. I hope she still gets recognized for it. And 104, you take a rest, my queen. You take a rest.
When I'm 104, I'll probably be a head in a jar, not jumping out of airplanes.
For real. For real. I think I'll be long gone from this world. And then the last thing we got here is, this might be the dumbest dumbass that I've ever seen. James, a woman was rescued from an outhouse toilet after climbing in to retrieve her Apple Watch. To what extent do you need your technology?
You couldn't get me to climb into an outhouse toilet for anything except like another person or an animal, perhaps like my pet. Like there is like no possession I have that I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna go in there and get it. And an Apple Watch is like $200. Like the most expensive one is like, I don't know, $500. It's like, come on, like.
And like, I am like averse to outhouses. Like, I am like, I'm good. I will not go to the bathroom for a few days, because those places I just feel are so gross. And just the idea of this makes my skin crawl. Just somebody going in there to find that. Oh,
Yeah, and I'm also wondering, like, I feel like the outhouses I've been in, well, I don't know. I'm thinking of like porta potties, which are way
me
smaller.
too.
Like a outhouse is like a deeper thing, but it's like initially you have to go through the hole that like the toilet seat is on, which is like not that big for starters. Like I think you or I would have trouble fitting through that hole. Maybe she could fit better, but then it's like it says she like lowered herself inside.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like I'm picturing just like, kind of your hands are on the edge and you're kind of stepping down, which doesn't
Oh
make any
God.
sense because it's like how, like I don't know where the watch is, but it's like, were you gonna grab it with your foot? Like monkey foot grab it and pick it up? Like I don't even get what this plan is. Like, or did she, I mean, did it get more elaborate? Did she tie her foot to like
Oh.
something? Like
Oh.
I would never try this. Like my first thought would be fuck that Apple Watch. I'm not going in there.
I'm
Damn
done.
it.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
It's
My second
gone.
thought would be maybe I could talk to, you know, I don't know where this is, like the park ranger or something,
Yeah.
the boat launch. Maybe I could talk to them and they could like go to the clean out and like retrieve it. But it's like you're the Apple Watch has like a speaker port. It's like you're never gonna use this device again. It might as well be destroyed. Like
Yeah. The smartest thing this woman did was not release her name for this news article. It's just remain nameless.
oh
How long do you shower after an ordeal like this?
yeah,
You have to
getting stuck
disinfect
in
your
there.
life.
This is like my worst fucking nightmare. Like I can't
Yeah.
even imagine like going in there for any reason, but getting stuck in there, like having to call out like help, and then someone comes in and is like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "I dropped my watch."
And then let's talk about the toilet was removed and a strap was used to haul the woman out. That doesn't sound like it took 10 minutes to do. Like that means she was waiting around in God knows for, I bet this took 20-25 minutes to take the toilet out and whatnot.
Oh, I bet it was longer because it's like
I
they
know.
had to take it out. They'd like find a suitable, outhouse person removal strap and like lower it down and tell her how to get on it. And then like, you know, oh,
And then I
it's
look
just,
at the quote from, oh, you first, sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I look at the quote from the state policeman. All I can think of is there's probably a sign on these outhouse toilets now, and there's a story behind every sign. And now there's a sign that says, if you lose an item in an outhouse toilet, do not attempt to venture inside the containment area. Serious injury may occur. ... We thought you'd know this, but you'd be surprised.
It should be like when you go to like a gas station and sometimes they have like people's pictures up on the wall, like on the inside, that are like, if you see this guy, call the police. They should have one like that for her. Like, if you see this woman, don't let her use the outhouse because she'll go in there to retrieve things. Like,
Oh, it's horrible. And I'm sorry to end our show this week on a story that'll just turn your stomach.
but it is like the dumbest dumbass. Like, sorry, lady, but you should not go into there for any like. And that item, like, if it was like an heirloom or like my wedding ring, my
Yeah.
my mother's wedding ring, I'd like have a little more sympathy. But it's like such a stupid item is like that you could just replace. It's like who cares?
Not even Steve Jobs would go to this length to save an Apple product.
I feel like 99.9% of people would not like that is weird.
Yeah. But hey, that's what we talk about. And that's what we got going on is we talk about the dumbasses in our area. And at least in my head canon, she is number one.
Yeah, I just got to thank her for her service. I mean, this is a great story for us. So I appreciate it, lady. I feel bad for you, but also I appreciate your decision making.
Hats off to you, miss. But hey, that's what we got for Dumbass News in this week. So this is Ralphie G and James V signing off.
See everybody later.